choose one. History edition, which is superior, Athens versus Spartans? I would say Athens because Athens won in the end. The Spartans did win the Peloponnesian War, but Athens did make a comeback, let's say, in 100 years' time. And over the long term, Athens was the one that lasted more. So I would say Athens. Yeah, but the Spartans obviously were superior in their military tactics and strategies and their militaristic lifestyle. But overall, I would say Athens was superior because it was a more well-rounded culture, more well-rounded city-state, more culturally relevant than Sparta. Sparta was one-dimensional, all militaristic. Athens had other stuff as well. I would say overall Athens would be superior. The Achaemenid Empire versus the Magadha Empire. The Magadha Empire is the one that preceded the Mauryan Empire. I would say, look, the Magadha Empire conquered most of the subcontinent, right? Large part of the subcontinent. The Achaemenids, the thing about the Achaemenids and various Indian empires, whether it's the Magadha or the Mauryan Empire, is that they were never adversaries. You see, Indian empires like the Mauryan Empire or the Magadha Empire, they never tried to expand beyond the subcontinent. They only wanted to unify the subcontinent under one political rule, which was theirs. When it comes to the Achaemenid Empire, they were expansionists, but they never ever expanded eastwards towards India. They always fought the empires to the west, whether it's the Greeks or whoever, right? So I would say it's a tie. Achaemenids versus Magad or Maurya. It's a tie. Uh, Chandragupta Maurya versus Caesar. Chandragupta Maurya is the founder of the Maurya Empire, of the Maurya dynasty. He had the help of his great mentor, Shri Vishnugupta Chanakya, and he established the beginnings of an empire that would eventually be the greatest empire we ever saw in the subcontinent, more or less. Not probably the greatest. Maybe the Kushan was greater, empire was greater, but okay. It was one of the greatest of all empires in the subcontinent. And it gave rise to this great cultural efflorescence and so on and so forth, right? So, so the founder was Chandragupta Maurya. When it comes to Caesar, he was a military conqueror. And he conquered a vast territory, probably larger than the subcontinent. So, from a purely expansionist perspective, from a territorial conquest perspective, Caesar was greater. He was one of the greatest generals of all time. But from a civilizational perspective, I would say Chandragupta was greater. So it depends on which way you look at it. Caesar was a conqueror. He was interested in conquest, in wealth. Why did he conquer? Because it gave him vast amounts of territory from which to extract resources, like Hispania, from which he got a tremendous amount of gold, and so on. And that increases prestige in Rome. And his overall objective was to be the number one man in Rome, and that's why he conquered so much. And because he had all these legions at his disposal, and legions, to maintain legions, you need a tremendous amount of resources and money. That's also another reason for behind his conquests. But his conquests were incredibly destructive. They resulted in what you would today call genocide. So yeah, but from a conquest perspective, Caesar was greater. From an all-round perspective, I would say perhaps Chandragupta Maurya was greater, perhaps. So it depends on which way you look at it. Next, Samudragupta versus Napoleon. Samudragupta knew when to stop. His entire life, his entire career as emperor was one extended military campaign, and he conquered the whole of the subcontinent. He subdued all the kingdoms to the south, north, everywhere. He launched a dual conquest of the south part of India, which was a land-based conquest with a parallel naval conquest. So he was one of the all-time greats, Samudragupta. Napoleon. So Samudragupta wanted to unify the subcontinent, and he did not engage in wanton destruction and all that. Napoleon just wanted to rule the world. He did not know where to stop, and that is what eventually led to his downfall. I would say Samudragupta was greater. He was a much greater ruler, and he was, I would say, as good or if not better than Napoleon in his military strategies and tactics and the way he conducted his conquests. So I would say Samudragupta wins that. Breaking Bad versus True Detective season one. I would say I've seen both actually. I've seen Breaking Bad. I've seen True Detective season one. True Detective season one is probably one of the greatest pieces of cinema. Is it cinema? It's a TV series. Uh, It was great. It's pretty dark. It's about serial killers and stuff, but it's really well made. But overall, I would say Breaking Bad is superior because it lasted, I don't know how many, 5 6 seasons, whatever it was. I think overall sustained excellence, you saw that in Breaking Bad. When it comes to True Detective, the subsequent seasons I hear aren't that good. uh, Nietzsche versus egalitarian philosophy. Look, I am no great fan of Nietzsche or whatever, but if you were to talk about Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy, uh, what comes to mind? God is dead. He famously proclaimed that God is dead. He said that the rise of science and secularism in the West, in the world, was causing the decline of religious belief, and this has created a crisis of values, crisis of meaning, crisis of what's the purpose of life, all of that. So he said God is dead. He said that we are now living in a world that has no inherent meaning, it has no inherent purpose. He called it nihilism, and he believed that it could perhaps be a starting point for creating new values and meaning, but I'm not sure where we have gone with that. And he spoke about something called the will to power. He said that there is a fundamental drive in all living beings, in all living things. We called it the will to power, which is your personal quest, your personal striving for growth, for overcoming your own limitations and all that. So he called that the will to power. And he also came up with this concept of the Übermensch, the Superman, which is this concept of a higher or more powerful type of human being who's able to create their own values and live according to their own values and according to uh, their own will. Okay, and impose their will on the world and create and give the world purpose and meaning and all of that. So these are the things that Nietzsche spoke about. There's a lot more to Nietzsche than just this. So that's Nietzsche. He said that the world is not that he said that all humans aren't equal. He did not believe in equality. He said that some are superior, some are not, and it depends on how you live your life. And if you have the will to power, how much of the will to power you have. Everyone doesn't have the same will to power. Some people have low agency. They will just be passive spectators in life. They will be supporting characters. And some people have more agency. They'll get things done no matter what. They'll find a way. And these are the heroes, the in life, the central characters in life, right? So all people aren't equal. Nietzsche did not believe in equality, and egalitarian philosophy says that everyone is equal and all and so on and so forth. Listen, what do I believe? I believe that everybody should have the same rights. Everybody should have the same rights and should be treated the same as per whatever principles we live by, whether it is law, constitution, or whatever. Everybody should have the same starting point and the same treatment. But I don't believe all humans are equal. I mean, look at human beings around you. Some are tall, some are short, some are more intelligent, some are less intelligent, some are richer, some are poorer, some are just capable of doing more, some are not so capable. So egalitarian philosophy, uh, the foundations are good. Everybody should be given the same rights, no matter what is their lineage, what is their status at birth, whatever parentage they come from, whatever their so-called class in society. Everybody should get the same rights and all. I completely believe in that. But I also don't believe that all humans are equal. Some people are just different. Everyone's different, right? I mean, why do we have the Olympics? Why do we have the World Cup? It's not to celebrate equality, it's to celebrate inequality. It's to celebrate those who are the best. They are the ones who win. The second, the runners-up medal is not the medal you want. You want the winner's medal. So yeah, so I would say I would probably go a little bit more with Nietzsche than with egalitarian philosophy. But I do agree with the fact that everybody should have the same rights and same treatment, right? And good treatment and good rights. Yeah. Darwinian society versus Dharmic society. Obviously, a Dharmic society. Darwinian principles do apply to the world. Obviously, the survival of the fittest, the ones who strive more, do better, and so on. But Dharmic philosophy means everybody should be treated with compassion and so on. So it's kind of a continuation of the previous one. I would obviously always go for a Dharmic society.